Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Paul Stanley, Carson Oaks Church. Fear profits a man little is a quote from one of my favorite movies. And I think of it often these days as we're in a world where there seems to be this ever-increasing amount of anxiety and fear. In fact, in a recent article in Psychology Today, there was an interesting conversation about the anxiety epidemic, as they call it in America. In college campuses across the nation, the diagnosis of anxiety has now surpassed that of depression in college students. Research shows that 38% of teenage girls and 26% of teenage boys have been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And interestingly, much of the anxiety was attached to cell phone use, texting, and social media. I think it's because it's through these avenues that we're inundated with scary stories and cautionary tales about cataclysmic events that are actually really probably never going to happen in our lives. And tales of woe concerning our health and the stability of our country. They're reported right alongside fears of terrorism and disease and destruction, and there just never seems to be any good news. And if that were really true, well, we'd be right to be in fear. But as believers, we're not to fear these things because we know they're going to come, and we know they're going to be around us in this world, but we also believe that God holds all things in his hands, and not one thing will happen that he in his great wisdom will not allow. Knowing this will give you peace. And I admit that sometimes God does allow things to happen and we have no understanding of why. That his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. The Apostle Paul reminds us in Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present requests to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding or transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. God has been given this advice since the day the Hebrews left Egypt, and it's just as relevant today for you and for me. If you're facing the unknown today and you're anxious about it, know that as believers in Jesus Christ, you have nothing to fear, even when you're not sure what lies ahead. Before the Hebrews entered the promised land, God told Joshua this, and I want to say it to you today. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. That promise is for you today too. If anxiety and fear is weighing you down, let me encourage you to throw off those shackles and trust that God knows you, he knows your future, and has his hands upon you. Then when anything comes your way, you'll have that peace of Christ that passes all understanding through storms, rainy days, sunny days, good times and bad. You'll know that you're in God's hands. And I pray that you know this today. I pray that you're encouraged. I pray that you're hanging in there. God bless you, and we hope to see you face to face very soon.